Well, I'm here with Nadine Crocker, writer, director, star, and subject of the movie Continue. Nadine, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Uh, I'm here in the CinemAddicts studios of my car in front of Skybox parking lot, so I'm doing pretty good. But yeah, I just watched your movie the other day, and I mean, people get personal with their art, but I mean, you just put yourself way out there. Like, how does that feel? Like if I do a movie about like a space monster attacking robots, that could be personal, but that's not me. You're making a movie about you, so if people reject it, that's gotta yeah, that's gotta sting. But at the same time, I'm assuming you're getting pretty good reception on this.
Yes, it was definitely a very scary thing to do and not know how it'll be received. And also, nerve-wracking and feeling of being naked in front of the whole school, but it definitely I'm so blessed to say that the reception has been really kind. And I think that you can feel the love and the passion and everything that I put into this film, but also my entire crew. And we're all humans who had been affected by mental health and um suicide and suicidal ideation, and so it was really like an army joining together. So it kind of became personal to all of us. So it was a really beautiful experience. I didn't feel afraid in that process because I had so many amazing people with me and by my side. But I will definitely say, as it's about to release and reviews and the things and that and the whole world's going to see it, there's been a lot of nerves. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, do you think the kind of the temperatures change or the conversations change about suicide? Because I can remember maybe 10, 15 years ago, somewhere around there, like the whole idea was, oh, get over it, get happy, work it out. And now the conversation is, oh, you have depression, so do I. And, I go through that. Like, so it seems a lot more people are sharing this sort of thing.
I think that the world is changing and the world is evolving in so many ways, but especially about mental health and suicide. Yes. And I think that the unfortunate thing is, I think it had to get really, really bad and really, really worse before it could get better. And I think that, I was met with a lot of adversity about making a film about this subject matter. And I think the pandemic hit, and, I heard from a lot of people, no one wants to talk about depression and suicide in such a dark time. And then unfortunately, the suicide rates skyrocketed and people were in pain. And I think that finally everyone was like, okay, it's time to freaking acknowledge that there are so many of us that are battling these things. And so, yeah, I think the world is changing. I think the temperature is changing. And, I hope in some way continue helps aid in that change. What I wanted to do was to start a conversation to let people know that we're struggling and in that darkness, that they're not alone. Because I do think that that's one of the worst things about it, is feeling like a burden, feeling like something's wrong with you, and also feeling utterly alone because we don't talk about it enough. And I do feel like that's changing, and I definitely hope that continue helps to change that. But I also do think we have a huge way to go around mental health in particular.
Yeah. I think I might be looking a bit too much into this, but at the beginning it says based on a true story. And usually when I see that, I kind of roll my eyes and go, yeah, whatever. But since it's about you, made by you, starring you, like I imagine this is pretty accurate to your life. But but it still says based on a true story. So like, what were some concessions or things that changed from your real life to what you see on screen?
Yeah, it's based on true events because I think it's important that if I made a lot of mistakes, I not tell people to make those same mistakes. So it's based on an attempt I made on my life when I was 23. There was numerous attempts, which is why in the film I touch on numerous attempts and show a history of that. I also come from a family of suicide, and I lost my grandfather to suicide, and it completely altered and reshaped our entire family. And depression and suicidal ideation runs really deep in my family. So yeah, it is very, very personal to me, and majority of the scenes and long dialogue scenes are moments from my life, trying to explain to my mother what how I could have suicidal ideation and not want to be here, and how I can, so it was definitely about helping others see that they're not alone, but also to try and educate those who maybe have a family member that are experiencing that same pain. And how can they, know how to handle that, and to be a support. But yeah, there were definitely things that changed from my storyline, like not to get into too many of the specifics again, because I don't want people to make the mistakes that I did, but it took me longer to get to the help that I needed. And in the film, like Dean just immediately goes into the institution, and and in the film, like my father is who ends his life. And in real life, it was my grandpa. And it's been hearing my dad, struggle with suicidal ideation his whole life as well, but also the weight that death had on him. And I just felt like for storytelling purposes, it was a lot, like it needed to come from the mouth of the character, not the father telling her about it. So there was definitely different things that differed. And also, I think it's my responsibility to protect the people that are in my life and to not divulge anyone else's story, but really only mine. So there was also a respect to that the few things that I did change was also to respect the privacy of the people that were in my circle, and so fictionalize or build a character that didn't exist to not put the people who are actually in my life, or that this experience happened with them, or this, to create a character that had their own story in their own life, and not, to honor the people who are in my life.
Yeah. Well, Nadine, I hate to cut this short, but I really enjoyed your movie. Comes out theater, digital, on demand September 6th, just in time for September National Suicide Prevention Month. Yeah, this is a really fantastic movie. I hope everyone sees it. And I didn't want to get into it here, but that ending nailed it. So great job.
Thank you so much.